What's going on, YouTube? Today we are back here in the office with the LG C3 and we're about to get the PC turned on and perhaps do a first time ever with the LG C3, which would be a software update. So let me jump up here and get the PC turned on. I imagine we're going to see a message pop up letting me know that there's a software update available. And if it does, we will jump right in and get the update done. So, all right, and there we have it. Everything's fired up here. You saw the update on the screen. It appeared and disappeared in about 2 seconds there. So let's go ahead and press and hold that settings button, that little sprocket wheel looking thing. We're gonna head on over to support, software update. And you can see that the TV, or this, what do you already want to call it? It's a TV. I'm using it as a desktop monitor, so I'm going to call it a TV. But you can see the TV shipped with software version 03.10.55. I need to dig into that and see just how old that firmware is. Like most of the time when you buy a new display these days, you're going to have to do a firmware update upon opening it up for the first time. So all good there. So let's see, an important software update is available. Looks like the current version is 03.20.13. So let's go ahead and get that started here. As this is going ahead and update, I'll check back in along the way if anything weird happens, but I expect this to be business as usual, like on the other software updates on the C2 that I normally feature on the channel. So I'll check back in with you on the other side. All right, so I'll check back in here. You can see I'm sitting at about 20% update progress. In real time, you're probably looking at maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes of this being updated so far. All right, so I'm gonna jump back in here real quick. I don't know if it's doing this because it's currently doing a software update, but my new LG C342 here is doing something very strange. So I don't know if you're picking this up on camera in real time here, but the TV appears to be attempting to switch in and out of the picture mode that I have it in. So we'll go back up here. By the way, everything's really laggy right now. So you can see here, I have my PC set up in Expert. It went away, Expert Bright Space with custom settings. See how the screen keeps flashing? Like it'll do it here in a moment again, I'm sure. Where it tries to put it back on standard. There it goes, standard mode, back to Expert, standard. It's just going back and forth, you know, snip, snap, that whole thing. I really hope that it's just doing that kind of weird thing because the TV's currently updating the software and that's not a regular thing. But I can tell you, I did use this. I did put some time on this monitor, a good amount of time yesterday, and this never happened once. So it does make me think it has something to do with that. It shouldn't be the cable. I'm running, one of the very ultra high-end type of HDMI cables, an HDMI 2.1 cable that I use for pretty much everything in the house, including the Xbox Series X and the PS5, and I have no problems. Well, I take that back. If you've been a follower of my channel, you know I have big problems with the LG C2 playing nice with the Xbox Series X. But anyway, so let's go back over here to support and see what kind of progress we're at. We're now up to 61, but I wonder if you could see on camera, leave me a comment below. Can you see the color change? Like every time the TV attempts to change back to standard picture mode, you'll see that more of a blue, like a blue hue. There it goes right there. It's more blue in the gray. And when it goes back to the Expert Bright Space settings I have set up here, it goes back to a natural tone. It looks like the frequency or something in the background. If you're actually looking over here on the right hand side, there's something going haywire with pink lines going up and down the side. It's like pink line version of Matrix situation here. So we're at 69, dude, here on the percentage. I will say this update has taken a lot longer than typically the software updates I do on the LG C2. Maybe that's because this firmware version I'm on, the 03.10.55, is extremely outdated. Like maybe it's like 2 or 3 firmwares ago and they're making big changes here. I'm not sure. But if you're somebody who just got this software update and you've come here to see what comes with the update, stay tuned, hang on. When I come back on the other side, I'm going to walk you through everything that I find out that actually comes with this current firmware version that I'm attempting to install on my brand new 42-inch LG C3. See you soon. All right, so we're back here. You can see software update has been installed. Update will be applied when you restart your TV. As you can see, my TV is still going extremely haywire here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it restarted, and hopefully when I come back on the other side, I'll have some good news that it fixes this problem, because this is ridiculous. Okay, so I went ahead and restarted the TV and turned it back on. And I'm still being met with this message letting me know that it's going to be the update will be applied when I restart my TV. I already restarted the TV, so something weird is still going on here. It does look like the weird haywire HDMI signal issue seems to be toning itself down a little bit now. Whenever I restarted the TV before I started filming again, it was still doing that weird stuff, so I just unplugged the cable from the back of the PC and plugged it back in. Seems to be working okay now. So that earlier stuff looks like it was just a handshake issue. But I can tell you, I mentioned earlier in the video that I had one of my normal or usual high-speed cables. It's like a Zeskit 8K cable or whatever. You can get them on Amazon. I've had really good luck with them. I have them on most all the devices in the house. Good performance, except for that Xbox Series X. But I did notice that I did not have one of those cables actually plugged in for this PC. I must have been, whenever I had this on my, whenever I had my Dell monitor hooked up here, I was using this cable in it because I really didn't give a to be honest with you. But now that I have the C3 here, I'm gonna go ahead and swap the cable out, and I doubt I'll run into this issue anymore. But enough about that. I know you're here about the update, as I see a random flicker there, so clearly the HDMI cable is the issue. As you can see here, this is still letting me know that it hasn't been updated yet, and it will be when I restart the TV. I think the next step I'm gonna take is I'm gonna go ahead and do a full restart of the PC as well as the TV and see if for some reason the signal was still active enough that it didn't count that as a restart. I don't know, but I had turned off the TV for a good 1 to 2 minutes before I turned it back on, and it still is saying that it needs to restart. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and I'll come back on the other side. Okay, so I went ahead and did a full shutdown on the PC. That's the only active HDMI signal going to the TV. As you can see, the TV is completely off. The red standby light, or whatever it's called, is showing. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm actually gonna attempt to just turn the TV on without an active signal to it and see if that generates, like, kind of kick starts it into actually implementing the update. So let's go ahead and do that now and see what happens here. Learning on the fly. The C3 is very new to me. Having it as my desktop setup, this is different than what I normally have my C2s for, or my LG TVs, which is like the game room and stuff. So as you can see here, it just looks like it's on the no signal wallpapers here. Let's see if it'll let me pull up the settings. Okay, it will. Let's go over to support, software update. And I'm still seeing the same message. I'm not quite sure. This is definitely something wrong here, because when I do these updates on my C2, I can literally, I don't have to do it this way. In other words, there's no active signal going to this now. So I'm gonna dig into this and see if I can figure out why this is happening. If you're somebody who is in the market, maybe looking to buy a C3, good thing you've come across this video, because maybe you'll get a solution to a potential problem you'll encounter when you get your new C3. So I'm gonna dig into this. I'll come back on the other side once I've sorted out what's causing this not to actually install the firmware. Okay, so I think I figured out what was going on with it and why it wouldn't allow it to actually install the update. Let me see if I can remember how I got to that. So we'll double check to make sure the firmware is updated first. Let's go over here to support, software update. Okay, so we're now on 03.20.13. So that's where we need to be. So I must have figured it out. So what I did was I came over here to general. I think I went down here to system, additional settings, and quick start. So I had quick start turned on because I had this set up differently than my C2 for the game room, because this is a desktop monitor connected to my PC. So I was hoping that with having something like quick start on, it might allow the PC to wake up the TV. I have found out that that does not work. So that's still going to be one of my first projects with this new display, is to figure out a way to have, when I turn on the laptop, it automatically turns on the TV. And I already have it set up to where it goes to the last input. So whenever I turn on the TV, it goes to, if I was on the PC last, it'll go there. If I was on the PS5 last, it'll go there. That's what I want. But it does not wake up the TV or turn it on when the laptop is turned on. So that's still going to be one of my first projects to do, but I'm happy to report that I was finally able to get the software update installed. So if you're somebody who just bought the C3 and you're getting ready to update that firmware for the first time, make sure you have quick start turned off and you should be good to go. So up next, let's figure out what actually came with this software update finally. All right, so we're over here on the software firmware updates and drivers page for LG. You can see here I'm on the 42C3. That's what we've updated. So I see two different firmwares installed. So I'm actually going to go over 03.20.06 on here because I must have skipped right over that one and just went straight to this one. So in theory, that means that this update should have included everything here. Leave me a comment below if that's not the case. Let's dive into this one that came out before. This is actually one of the bigger updates, it looks like. I actually did a separate video on my channel talking about this specific update. And then here's the firmware the TV is currently on. I click that and I get exactly what I normally see here, which is 1 dot improvement and 1 fixing minor bugs in software. I'm gonna dig in and make sure that because I skipped over this firmware, this 03.20.06, I'm gonna make sure that I actually got this update. I suppose it would be possible that because I never installed this firmware update, that I actually am now missing out on these features and it just went straight to this one, you know? But again, those of you that have had a C3 for a while, drop a comment below and let me know if I'm way off on that. But I'm definitely gonna check into some of these to make sure that this update is now on this TV. So that's going to be a wrap for this video. Sorry it kind of drug out longer than usual. You saw I had some technical difficulties there doing the updates, so that made the video drag out a little more while I tried to solve that. And the main reason why I included that in this video is because if you just now are getting a C3, I want you to see what sort of errors you might encounter the first time you fire up your C3 and then to do a software update. These are the sort of things you could see that might happen, and hopefully I was able to provide a resolution if you come across that same issue. And if I did provide a resolution that helped you out, be sure to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe, turn on the bell. Helps support the channel, doesn't cost you anything. And as always, until the next one.